So I have been saving up my recyclable items and boxes for doggy enrichment time, so he can have activities to do. Now unfortunately Bosun wasn't well enough to actually enjoy any of these whilst he was here, but I've saved them anyway and have set them up anyway to show you what I do each year for my dogs. So these are all recyclable items that have been saved up over the last few weeks. Obviously at Christmas time you tend to have a few more boxes than you do every other day of the year. But I wanted to talk you through them, what each of them are. And I tend not to use plastic, I tend to go with cardboard or paper, just so there's nothing sharp. But I'll talk you through each box as we go. So this one is just kitchen roll tubes and toilet roll tubes. So I've cut the kitchen roll tubes in half, and you can place treats in each one of them. I tend to put a Kong in as well, so it's got some peanut butter, pate, cream cheese, anything that your dog likes and that they're safe for them to have. So that could be one box. With any of the boxes you can seal them as well if you want to make it a little bit harder depending on your dog and what they enjoy and their level of enrichment. This one is full of cardboard, so you can actually place treats in each one of them and then seal them. I tend not to use anything that's had too much chemicals or anything like that in it. This is hair dissolver, but I tend to just use things from food. So you can seal each box again and the main box if you want to. You can put treats underneath it, so they have to pull each box out. This one is wrapping paper tubes. So those big tubes that you get in the wrapping paper, I trim them up and you can then place treats along the bottom or their daily food, and they can snuffle for it and pull the bits out if they want to. Now this will be as full or as not full as you like, depending on how many wrapping tubes you have. This one, full of newspaper, and I am forever screwing up notepaper when I'm done with it, so I tend to have quite a few of these boxes usually. And again, you can place anything in here as well. You can put things like licky mats underneath or snuffle mats in here, as you'll see with one over there too. This one has boxes which have holes in, so you can place treats in and then the dogs kind of like shake them out or knock it around as they do, and then they fall out. So a bit like a Kong wobbler. Different size boxes are helpful, so you can have big treats in here, you can have chew sticks. You might only place like a daily chew in a box, so they have to sort through which box has it in. Egg boxes are brilliant for placing different treats and different food in, and then the dog has to rip them open. But if you stack your boxes quite well and quite tightly with cardboard, it takes them longer to pull them all out. And again, you can seal the box if you want to. Packaging, so this is really good for dogs love to rip and tear at paper, so again, putting in whatever your dog is going to like. You can even put toys in here if your dog really values toys, like a favourite toy. You can put that in here and seal it, so the dog has to rip it open. And again, I love a box to seal. Depending on the size of your dog will depend on the size boxes you use. They need to be able to be tall enough to look over the box and get things out, or to be able to tip the box over, so it makes it easy for them, otherwise they may get frustrated. But if your dog is particularly long, then longer boxes will be helpful. And if they're like Bosun and they're big, they might quite like to just shove their head into boxes like these, but like to stand in bigger boxes. So Bosun also he's very good with things like tinsel and anything that's not edible. He would just pull this out. So for him, I could use this as something for him to pull out, and then he'd have Kongs on the bottom. So if I pull it all out, you see there's Kongs underneath, and he could lick at them. Now your dog may not be as trustworthy with things such as tinsel. They may try to eat it or destroy it or pull it off your tree, so be careful, be mindful of what you're using. This one is one of my favourite ones, so it's got loads and loads of packaging paper in it, and you can literally put all kinds of activities underneath. And if you stack this one, stuff it with loads and loads of paper, then it's even more fun because they have to pull loads out before they get to the bottom. And big boxes are great for the bigger dogs to actually stand in. I've got quite funny photos and videos of Bosun deciding to go to sleep in a box like this afterwards. He enjoys them for napping as well, so that's a great one for bigger dogs. And as I said, you can put a snuffle mat into a box. So if you are a bit concerned about your dog having things to rip up, maybe that's not what you want them to do, or you're concerned they may swallow bits, you can actually just use their own things and seal the box. So all they have to do is rip the box open, and then it may have a snuffle mat in with treats on it and underneath it, or their daily dinner. So that could be enriching for them. Alternatively, you can use their toys. So if they have lots and lots of like soft toys and hard toys, you can hide treats in here. You can hide their daily chew in a box maybe like this, and they have to pull out all their toys for it. Again, you can make this easy or hard depending on your dog's level and their ability. If you're not happy about them destroying boxes at all, and boxes aren't your thing, then you can just set up an activity area. So you could have a small bit of peanut butter spread through a snake, perhaps. You can have things placed onto boxes. You can use these as areas for your dog to know to go to where there are treats hidden underneath them or within them. And towels are brilliant for using them for enrichment. So if you lay out your towel, you can place treats in and you can tightly wrap them. And then you can, if you want, you can place these in cardboard boxes, or again, if you don't want the cardboard boxes to be a part of it, you can just place these around the room, and you can have different size towels, bigger ones, smaller ones, wrap them in different ways. You can even just put the treats in a corner and wrap them all the way up until you've got the whole towel, and then it's a little bit more difficult for them. And of course, some dogs do just like to destroy a box on its own. Bosun very much loves destroying boxes, so that's great for him. In here, I just have a licky mat or a slow feeder where you could place treats or spread or something, and you could have it slightly open but a little bit more tricky for them to get to. So it takes a little bit longer. The important thing with enrichment is to remember that it's got to be enjoyable, not frustrating. So don't use anything that is going to be too difficult, and don't set it up to be hard for them. You definitely want to supervise your dog to begin with, so you know exactly what they're likely to do with each item. Now, as you see, I have Christmas presents out on the fireplace. Bosun was always very good, as all of my dogs have been, at knowing what's theirs and what isn't. So if you're concerned if you let your dog start destroying things and you don't want that to happen, what I suggest you do is actually take them to a different room to where you would keep presents or where posts would fall through the door. Go to a different room, ask them to sit and wait or stay and place things out, and then actively encourage them to open them and destroy them in front of you as an activity together, and be very praising and encouraging of them whilst they are doing it. And then be very clear when things come through the door in other areas that that's what we leave, and rewarding them for leaving them alone or for choosing not to interact with those. So it's very much when they're given, they're allowed, and when they're not given, they're not. But Bosun would never have touched any of these even if we did this in here. So it depends on your dog and their level of understanding of what's theirs and what isn't. But these are just some ideas that you can use. So if you want to share this video with any friends who have dogs, I'm sure they'll appreciate it. And feel free to share your photos and videos with me too. And enjoy!